Hey, today I'm at a grape and pear farm with my family in Yamaguchi, Japan. Recently I've been thinking a lot about my channel, about some of the things I've been doing, what's been working, what's been not working, and now I'm kind of wondering, is my experience typical? Or what is a typical YouTuber experience, and what is the typical growth rate for a new small channel? So what I did is I found 15 more or less randomly selected channels of about 1,000 subscribers, and I compared the statistics between those channels. So I'm going to go back to my room and tell you what I've discovered. In this video, you're going to hear me referring to the top 5 channels exhibiting the highest rate of subscriber growth. I'm going to refer to them as simply the top 5 channels. That doesn't imply that they are the best channels. It doesn't even imply that subscriber growth is better than not having subscriber growth. It's simply the metric that I'm comparing for the purpose of this video. So, top 5 channels are the top 5 channels that exhibit the highest rate of subscriber growth. Now, what I attempted to do was see if I could find characteristics that the top 5 channels had in common. These are the things that I measured: the amount of time it took to get to 1,000 subscribers, the number of subscribers a day based on observations for 1 week, the average subscription growth over the lifetime of the channel, the average number of days between video posts, the mean, median, and maximum for a single video's view count, the total number of views over time, and the standard deviation in video views, which also led to a coefficient of variation. Now, coefficient of variation is derived from the standard deviation. It's basically a way of measuring how consistent the channel is with videos and views. So a very low coefficient of variation would mean that most of the videos get about the same number of views, whereas a very high coefficient of variation would mean that there's a vast difference in the number of views for each individual video. So then after I collected and calculated all of this data, I went through every column and I sorted it in descending order. I then colored the cells that placed in the top 5. So top 5 for median number of views, top 5 and low 5 for coefficient of variation. I then sorted by rate of growth per day and rate of growth through lifetime of the channel. Now, between those two measures, rate of growth over the lifetime of the channel is probably much more reliable, because I can't tell from watching for 1 week whether or not the daily rate of subscriber growth is accurate. For example, a channel that does exercise videos might have more views and more subscriptions at the beginning of a new year, and that isn't really measured by me taking calculations right in the middle of the year. On the other hand, if I only take subscription growth over the lifetime of the channel, then of course most channels are going to start off with very little subscription growth in the beginning, and they're probably going to pick up the pace as time goes on. At least that's the case with me. So between these two measures, I kind of split the difference, and it turned out that there was a lot of overlap between those top 5. So once I had them organized by subscription growth in either of those categories, I then looked for patterns in the other statistics. Here's what I found. Now, I'm going to start with the things that don't matter. Probably what surprised me most is that the total number of views did not have as great of an impact on average subscriber growth. That surprised me because it just seemed intuitive that as more people watch your videos, you're probably going to have more subscribers. But the factor that doesn't really account for is time. An older channel is going to have the opportunity to get more views, but that doesn't necessarily mean that just because they've been around for a long time, they're going to have more subscribers, or rather, attract subscribers at a faster rate. So total number of views was not a pattern across the board. Another factor that didn't have any pattern was the coefficient of variation. In other words, some channels had a very high degree of variance between the views each of their videos were getting, and they were just as successful as those channels that had very consistent views. In fact, all of the factors had very little impact on the rate of growth, except for one. The single greatest factor held in common by each of the top 5 channels was the frequency of posting. I'm going to say that again. According to what I found, when I was comparing against all channels for those that exhibited the highest rate of subscription growth, the ones that were the most successful in that also posted the most frequently. Furthermore, the highest performing channel, one that hit 1,000 views in only 98 days, posted an average of 16 subscribers per day, and they were also the channel that posted the most frequently, posting a video an average of every 3 days. And of the top 5 channels, no channel posted less frequently than 9 days. So if you've heard YouTubers recommend that you post a video every week, there's a lot of truth to that. Of the top 5 channels, 4 of them were also in the top 5 of posting videos more frequently. Well, what about that 5th person, the other person who posted most frequently? How come they weren't included in the top 5? Well, that person was in the top 6. By comparison, of those top 5 channels, only 1 was in the top 5 of total views. 3 were in the top 5 of median number of views. And for those of you who need a reminder what median is, when you have a lot of data that varies vastly, then median is a more reliable measure of central tendency. So it's like average, but like a more reliable average. It's actually the number of views that's in the middle of all of the other values. But anyway, of the top 5 channels, I saw 3 of them in the top 5 for median number of views. 3 of them were also in the top 5 for lowest coefficient of variation. However, the 2 highest performing channels scored the lowest in coefficient of variation, which means that it doesn't matter if some of your videos are getting very few views and some of them are getting a tremendous number of views. It doesn't matter if all of your videos are all getting a lot of views. It doesn't matter if the average video on your channel is getting a great number of views. The only thing that matters, out of the data that I looked at least, is posting frequently. So the takeaway from this is if you're trying to grow your channel, if you're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers fast, then the best way that you can do that is by posting frequently. Of course, posting videos on a more regular schedule is really challenging. It takes a lot of work. And hey, if you're making a YouTube channel, you probably didn't get into it just because you wanted to make money. You probably got into it because you had some passion and you wanted to pursue something and present some content in a unique way. And if being able to accomplish that mission is going to be compromised by making a more intense posting schedule, then don't compromise your content. Like, don't let it ever be said that I said sacrifice content so that you can post videos more frequently. But it's a lot harder to evaluate the content of channels objectively, and it's really easy to just count videos and subscriber growth and make a spreadsheet, which is what I did from here. So take it or leave it. I hope you found this video helpful. I have got a lot of things going on. I've been thinking about my own channel and some of the things that I'd like to pursue more. I've got some really exciting projects coming up. I hope you'll stick around. And if you do, listen, I don't post videos every 3 days. I post them every week. So if you want to come back, I'll be here every weekend. And I hope you take care. And I don't know, go vote or something. Enthusiastic. I don't have a line to sign out on. And this is the part where the cards come in and I'll just stare at the ceiling for 15 more seconds. Quick stuff I like. Woo!